You ready?
The rock and roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, special guest today, David Sanghera. You know what we're going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. Sanghera's a good guy. I've known him for a while, and I'm excited. This is going to be a fun, 25 minutes. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship and kind of his journey, and I think it's going to add value to a lot of entrepreneurs out there. David, what's up?
Hey, nice to see you, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
I love this because I love hearing your journey. It's an interesting story. It's a really interesting story. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are, because there's some listeners out there and viewers out there that are going to love your story.
Yeah, man. So thanks for having me again. My name is David, and I run an e-commerce holding company. We launch a lot of products digitally through Shopify and Amazon. We use performance marketing to sell our products. So, TikTok, Facebook, Google, we run ads and we send them to our product pages, and then we fulfill our products out of Henderson, through China, through the East Coast as well. So we have a wide network of distribution.
How'd you learn how to do that? Because you're pretty darn young. I mean, how'd you learn that deal?
Well, back in 2014, I started affiliate marketing, right? So affiliate marketing is like, you don't own the product. You just do the ads for a bunch of different companies. With my really good buddy, Tony. And we kind of understood how to market products. Because at this point, you were just like a gun for hire. You're like, okay, well, there's this muscle product that we need to sell, or you got to get this app, this Uber app needs installs. Figure out how to install it. Send ads. So, going through these different niches over time, you build almost like a market understanding of what every single demographic needs, like a playbook. So then you can apply the playbook to each different type of demographic and sell any product, essentially, not all, but most of them, right? Using direct response. So 2014, 2015, 2016, that's what I was doing up until 2017. Then I started a growth marketing company to help other brands. So we launched Tracker, this little item tracker that on your keychain, right? So that was worked with Chris on that. The hoverboard, the first hoverboard ever, we launched.
You did? Are you serious?
100%. It's on Kickstarter right now, so it's proof of the first one. Lost Flick. I did Flick, a bunch of different projects. Then we did work for Uber, HBO Go, or HBO. Now it was called, I don't know, one of those two, DoorDash, Uber Eats. Then I said, at this point, I was like, okay, well, I'm doing a lot of work for a lot of other clients. They're capitalizing on all the work that I've done, and I'm not getting any residual benefit. After I send them the sale, I don't see anything, right? And it's a lot of work to send the first sale. Then I said, why don't I just do what I do for other people for myself, right? So then I started my first D2C company, and then now we have about 5 to 6 different product lines that we kind of launch for different demographics.
You're downplaying yourself. How did you work for such brands like HBO at such a young age? If you've only been doing that for, at that point, 10 years or less than 10 years.
That's 4 years. I think it was 4 years. Yeah. So I started to, I started building a credibility because we were doing, the affiliate marketing. We were making millions of dollars, a year, and we were sending hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue to our clients. And then word gets around, they start introducing us to the higher ups at HBO, Uber Eats, and then they're like, okay, well, go through our agency, work with them, and see if you can work your magic. We ended up working our magic there too, and so then the word kind of got out. Okay, these guys, we were called Ad Crush at the time, these guys know how to run performance paid media, right? And then people started asking me to go on panels, speak on stages, right? Speak, give feedback at masterminds, etc. And that's kind of my way to credibility. Let's just say that. Yeah. And then after I switched over to my own business, I was like, okay, well, the revenue growth was pretty similar to what we did with all the other brands, right? We just played the same playbook.
But for your own stuff. So okay. So you're the marketing guru. That's what I should have said. So and I believe that actually. So give me, what's one tip for an entrepreneur? Let's say whatever, 12,000, all the people in our database are entrepreneurs. Really, they are real estate investors. Some have operating companies. What's kind of a word of advice you would give to someone who's trying to expand their business, who's maybe making whatever, let's just say they're making $500,000 and they want to start doing some marketing? I know this is a generic question, but what would you suggest?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on each category, right? So I'll just give a few advices for different categories, right? So if you're like if you're an accounting or if you're an accounting like professional services firm, the first thing I would do is start running tripwires, right? Tripwires are like squeeze pages, landing pages that get people to see your ad, click on the landing page, and the offer makes them want to submit their phone number and email. That way you can expand using digital marketing, right? You have that lever, and immediately you can start closing people top of funnel, right? You can hire setters, appointment setters, you can hire closers eventually, right? And you can set up this funnel all because your tripwire, or like the product you offer to get them into the door, is very, very attractive, right? So people pay on Google, let's say, you'll pay, $5 to $10 to get a lead, right? A qualified lead, versus paying $50 to $100 because your tripwire is so attractive, right? So that's the one tip that works across most professional services businesses. So accounting firms, anybody who wants more deal flow, right? Accounting firms, like marketing agencies, like e-commerce people, right? In terms of real estate, if you're doing real estate, like from a digital marketing perspective,
let's say they're an agent in this case. Let's say, because we have 2,000 agents in our database. So
awesome. So agents usually have two. Actually, we did a lot of servicing work for some really big real estate companies out of San Francisco, and there's two dimensions we worked on. Number one was getting potential buyers. The other one was getting potential sellers, right? So the potential buyers, what we did is, and this is a great tip for people now, when you make your house landing page, or the landing page for your for the property that you're selling, right? Create a paid ad on Facebook and create a paid ad on Google. Use a lookalike audience. So scrape your current database of people, upload it to Facebook, Google, make a lookalike audience, and then do a revenue qualification on it, which Google and Facebook let you do. Put net worth of over, you could say like top 5% of income. Do that as like a filter, and you will start getting some quality leads. Like, that's the trick.
I have a dumb question. So, and this is legit, right? This is a legit question. So isn't throwing up a new website kind of just, you won't get very much traction, generally speaking, outside of the paid ads because it's brand new? Or are you saying that doesn't matter? Just do the paid ads and get them there?
Doesn't matter, exactly. One page, landing page, it's called a tripwire. You show the house, you say like, I don't know what the offer is, but get some percent off, whatever fee, broker fee, whatever, like something that lets people want to like submit their information because they're interested. And switching costs from agents is something that you have to incorporate. So you have to give a nice offer, and then run ads right directly to that page. Now, if you target the right people, like I'm mentioning, like you create a lookalike audience, you screen for top of revenue, like top 5% revenue, and you screen it for a certain zip code. Do some region targeting. Your lead quality goes to the roof. We pretty much did this actually for probably the third biggest real estate company in San Francisco, and then they ended up just, I'm not gonna say the name because they ended up firing us and just doing it themselves. And I was like, okay, that sounds good.
Well, they're probably doing all right, but you're doing all right. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like the one big tip that every real estate person uses now, if they know how performance ads.
Dude, I should be doing that if you really think about it. We just do email marketing and get referrals, believe it or not. We should be doing a little bit more proactive marketing. That's a good point.
Oh, for you, your web, I see some of the content you send out. You can just easily send that, create a landing page, with that content. Just a squeeze page, save X amount of money in your taxes, save X money if from liability or trust, whatever your angle is, whatever your product is. And then you could just run that through a few big entrepreneur networks, and you can co-reg. It's called co-registration. You can pay them per lead they send you, and they already have millions of entrepreneurs who make a certain amount of money per month. So they already screen for net worth, like e-commerce fuel, like Hampton, like I mean, literally all these guys that have high net worth individuals, and they do these co-registration deals, and that's the easiest way for you to grow.
I really should do that. Oh, dude, I'm learning more from this podcast than I ever expected. Wow. Yeah. Nice, dude. Wow. Hopefully the people out there, you should be listening and paying attention, because this guy's got some good ideas right off the bat. Holy mackerel. So, wow. Okay. Let's take a second step. So what would you say, what's kind of important as far as, because I know you know how to do kind of the systematization of a business. What would you say is important there, or what are some kind of models or some suggestions to an entrepreneur when you get them in the funnel?
Right. Yeah. So once you get the email and phone number, right? Like this is another tip that I give to everybody, is that you need to send them, again, if you're going to write this down, write this part down. You need to create a iMessage business account. Okay. An iMessage business account, meaning that the text message that the customer should receive should be blue and not green. Okay. Very important.
Okay. Give me an okay. Why is that?
Because most people, when they receive text messages, they're automated and they're green, meaning they're not, an iPhone. It's an Android phone, or like a non-iPhone messaging them. 100%. I'd say like 90% of the time they get disregarded, right? If you get somebody, because most people who are entrepreneurs will have iPhones, most of them will, right? If you message them immediately after you get their number with a blue box, right? You have an iPhone, right? Yeah. You get a message from a blue box, it's a real person, right? That it's not a bot, right? That and it's instant. You can send other types of messages in there. You can actually record a video that actually will show up in their SMS, as like a message. So that's the easiest way to get that person to respond back once they've filled out the form.
Yeah.
Right? That's the hardest part, right? You get somebody filled out the form. They're like, who is this random person texting me? Boom, it's an iMessage. Boom, you have your video saying, hey, John, thanks for replying. I know you're looking for some tax advice. Let me know, what times work for you, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I've had a lot of success, not with the tax advice, but for my other buddy who's a recruiter, that's what he does. And he's like, you're looking for how to get recruiting advice. Here's a calendar link, just schedule real quick. Very simple. That's like the next step you should do. And the message from submission, so like, let's say if they submit at 11 o'clock, the text message should be between 11:01 and 11:05. So you have 4 minutes basically to send an automated text from my message with video in it. And there's a lot of ways to automate the video. There's some tools that will put the name in there, right? Using AI. So like that's the holy grail of getting people who submit their information and to actually respond back within 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah, I bet you a lot of entrepreneurs out there, they just blow it off. They wait, a day or whatever, 2 days, and then that's a cold lead, so you lose them.
Yeah, you lose. I'd say like the buying temperature, right? We can use it as that, right? Buying temperature. When they submit the form, it is high. I want to say like over the hours, it starts to drop, right? And I'm saying it dropped. The buying temperature probably is at like super high within the first, I want to say 30 minutes, right? And then it starts to 60% drop, another 20% drop. I think by like the next day, you're at like a 5 to 10% buying temperature.
Jeez. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So if you're not messaging your lead within 5 minutes and it's not from an iMessage and you don't have a personalized video, like you're kind of just doing yourself a disservice. You're spending money on leads that, potentially
you're wasting money if you really think about it. Yeah.
Wasted money. Yeah.
So you're like a real top of funnel guy. Wow. Those are really what?
Yeah, I wouldn't even people would do like, oh, I'll do a drip campaign, email. No. You don't need any of that. That's a waste of time. What you need to do is make sure your first message hits within 5 minutes and the rest solves itself. That's it. And then you can create one giant campaign for all the people who didn't respond within 5 minutes, right? But don't make that like your first thing you set up.
You're right. Most people do that though. You're right. It's kind of backwards.
It's backwards. They should not.
What about communities? Like, this is a naive question. Maybe this is for me. Hopefully it's for everyone else. Do you believe in communities? Because we don't really have a community. That's not really my deal, believe it or not. Like, do you believe in communities, setting up communities for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's an upsell and a downsell, right? So when you get people who are interested in the product but don't have the time, the money, the whatever, you put them in a Discord, and you put them in a Discord chat, right? Or in a Slack group, right? Slack groups has been the best so far. You put them in a Slack community, you invite them, and then you put them with like-minded entrepreneurs, and that's how you sell them. So that's the best move right now. So Hampton does that really well. They have everybody in their Slack group. And then they just busted into like 3 different topics and categories that people talk about. And they have a monthly group call with the community. So it's a downsell. So if, let's say, somebody doesn't have those services, you say, hey, would you like to join the community of entrepreneurs that I have, like-minded, just like you? There's a few guys you might want to talk to. Here's the invite to Slack. And you use Slack Connect. Don't do Slack Invite. Slack Connect just puts their channel into your channel. So they put your channel into their Slack versus joining a new Slack, if that makes sense.
No, I don't understand. Say that one more time.
It's Slack Connect. So Slack Connect is where you have a Slack, I assume, right?
Yeah.
And when you invite someone new, if you make them a Slack Connect member, instead of opening up another tab on their Slack, so they have 2 workspaces.
Yeah.
They'll just use their existing workspace and just make another channel in their workspace, so they can still see the channel in their own workspace, so they don't have to leave.
Which is even better. That's totally better.
It's the best.
What about connecting that stuff to, for an entrepreneur, to like their website, so everything's so you keep people on your website?
Yeah, I mean, website's not as great because nobody's on your website by default. Everybody's in Slack, Everybody's on. So 2 communities I've had the most success, 3 actually, is WhatsApp, making a WhatsApp group, right? Telegram group, obviously, right? If your clients live on Telegram, but Slack has been literally the most what's the word, responsive,
beneficial.
Yeah.
What about Google? What about Google Chat? Probably not.
No. I wouldn't use Reddit, Google Chat, Facebook groups, all that stuff. No, nobody's on that. I wouldn't use Messenger. I wouldn't use and don't use iMessage, right? Because that's going to blow their phones up.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Just use Slack or WhatsApp as a group. Everybody use that for asynchronous messaging now. I run a couple masterminds. Actually, I run like 8 masterminds with 8-figure entrepreneurs. So I have them all on WhatsApp. That's the way that we do it.
I didn't know that. But you're not looking to market that, or are you looking to market any of those masterminds?
No, I don't usually. This is just I meet all these people, and then based off of how they fit, I put them into groups. And that way, we facilitate a once a month meeting. So that way, they can talk about whatever problems or issues that they have. Usually it's around performance marketing or e-commerce.
Do you charge those guys or not?
No, it's just helps me, helps them. I get to stay in touch with all these people who are making pretty big moves. Keeps me on the cutting edge as well for e-commerce.
You know what's going on. Yeah, I get you. I get it. Well, so what's next for e-commerce? So I don't want to take any more of your time. Let's wrap up in 5-10 minutes. So, or maybe 10 minutes. So what's next for e-commerce in your suggestion?
Yeah, if you're gonna run an e-commerce business, you got to get on TikTok Shop. That's the weird thing to say about e-commerce. Most of the buying behaviors that people are gonna have moving forward, these young kids, 12 to 16, 18-year-olds, it's gonna be through TikTok Shop. They're gonna be buying, right? Yeah. And you take those buying habits for the next they become 30-year-olds, right? 35-year-olds, right? They're gonna just continue those buying behaviors through TikTok Shop. They won't be. It's like Facebook, right? Everybody who's young ended up being on Instagram, and then those other even younger people ended up being on TikTok, and they just stay in their lane while they grow up using the same product.
Yeah, because they're used to it. Totally.
They get used to it. Their credit card information, their buying history is in there. They're used to like buying in that like live method. That's just how people buy outside of the US as well. Japan, Korea, China, they all do it through live, whatever, like live streaming influencers. That's how they buy. It's actually kind of strange that people would go to Amazon, right, to buy, because there's no content. You have to search.
You do. You totally do. You're right. Yeah.
It's just a whole different mindset. So I think in 20 years' time, unfortunately, TikTok will be the prevailing kind of like e-commerce company, e-commerce, right? E-commerce company. Amazon obviously is going to be there. They're not going to go, but over time, the market share is going to start creeping up, right?
Yep. Yeah. That totally makes sense. What about AI? Do you guys use AI in your business at all?
Yeah. So AI is more like a feature, right? So like what AI allows you to do it with as an e-commerce marketer, marketing in general, is get your landing page up faster, right? Get your product photography done faster, get your ads done quicker, right? So you can get to market faster, right, than what you had to do before. So with the AI, you can generate a landing page, I don't know, with a click. You can generate product packaging with like, I don't know, a paragraph, right? You can generate an ad, assuming, you have like some other raw material, like within like, I don't know, a couple of hours, versus before landing pages took like 4 to 5 days. Product packaging needed a designer, right? That was another 5 days. So it went from like 3 weeks, right, of like launch time down to now potentially 3 to 4 days. Right.
It is. It's crazy. I mean, when we were, because obviously, as you know, we've been in AI for years, but even we have been surprised by like how quickly ChatGPT, et cetera, Claude have just attacked the market. It's just been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you take like, let's just say, for example, like, you're going to do that campaign I mentioned earlier, right? To make that tripwire.
Yep.
You just type in ChatGPT, you give an existing example of like a page, and you say, hey, create a landing page like this for my offer, which is this. And it'll spit out exactly what you need. Like, and you just copy and paste it in the landing page. And done, like,
it's crazy. Just think what it's going to be doing tomorrow. Tomorrow, meaning down the road, it's going to be absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I feel like the next phase is like, this is what all the ad platforms are doing. They're gonna try to make a GPT console windows.
Yeah.
So you can just say, hey, I want to target all 45 plus females with this ad who like this stuff. Hit send, and then it will. Instead of, right now you have to click all these buttons to like, you have to set up the campaigns. Ideally, it's just one terminal, right? You just say it and then boom.
That's how I like that. Convenience, quicker, cheaper. I mean, it's better for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have a very low bar of entry, but everybody will be able to get in. That's kind of what they're trying to do now.
Yeah, I like that. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, all right. So, how about this? We only have a couple minutes left. So, what's one word of advice you would give an entrepreneur that you haven't already talked about? That's a huge gem. Let's just say.
Don't stop testing until you have, unless you've given it like eight tries, because by the 8th try, usually something ends up working, right? So people end up stopping after the first. Yeah, most people stop before the first, but they stop after the first test or the second test. But you got to get to number 8. Once you get to number 8, like, one, you start understanding markets, you understand user behavior, you understand what worked, what didn't work. You start figuring out a lot of stuff. So don't give anything. Give everything a shot up until 8 tries, and if the 8th try you can't make it work, like, then that's not the product or business for you, right?
It's probably going to work somewhere along the line. Yeah.
Oh yeah, usually by number 3. I just say 8 because nobody will ever get to 8.
Yeah,
right?
I can totally get that. Yeah.
Like at the most I've tried, most of these things end up working after like shot number 3. I'm like, okay, I get it, right?
Yeah.
But that's my tip. Obviously, it's a pretty generic one, just because it's a human behavior thing, right? Some people like to give up early. I just think you need to just keep grinding until you get some kind of success. And
I
you'll
think
get it.
a lot of entrepreneurs just stop, or when they're lazy, but they stop when they shouldn't, and if they trudge through it, usually they're going to succeed.
Yeah, even on crypto, for example, right? Like, I don't know if you have any crypto
I do.
entrepreneurs, but yeah, like, if you're going to start, doing your first couple trades or investing your first couple coins, like, you're most likely going to lose money until you start looking at the market behaviors and patterns, and then you can learn how to, like, what the swings are throughout the day, right? Then you have like a full week is what it takes for you to learn about the market's movements on per coin. And then you'll figure it out. That's like 7 days, 7 tries.
I agree. It's funny about crypto. I started in 2010, and it was hard to buy crypto back then. And then I chickened out, basically, man. I wish I would have stuck with it. You know what I mean? I'd be the man. I'd be like you. I'd be the man.
Crypto is always here. When it's down, just buy. People are always going to discount it, saying it's over, and then it goes to $69,000 like last week.
I'm buying some every month. You know what I mean? Like clockwork.
Dollar cost average.
Yeah, you know what that is, dollar cost average, and it's worked. I know it's worked overall. You know what I mean? But if I would have stayed in 2010, because I did that, I started doing that, and I think I want to say 17. So I could have made a lot more money if I would have stayed in, back since 2010.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about bet sizing, right? So if you can make like $100,000 bets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I think. You have $700,000 bets, so you have $700,000 spent. At that point, you can make some really good returns, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're betting like small amounts, in a short period of time, you're not going to make much. You got to be like ready to take that ride. That ride is not a good ride.
Yeah, I know.
And down. So I don't know. That's kind of my positioning on crypto. That's why I kind of sit on the sidelines now until like I feel ready to take the ride mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, crypto, man, it goes up, goes way down, goes up. I totally hear you there. You're right.
Yeah, it's more of a mental game,
Yeah. Dude, I totally appreciate it. I know you don't really need clients per se, which is cool, but so I won't give out your contact information. But David Sanghera, it's been a huge pleasure, and dude, you know your stuff, and obviously you showed that here today.
Oh, thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me on, man. You've been such a great advisor for my accounting and tax stuff for the last 5 years, 6 years. So I appreciate that as well.
I totally appreciate it, man. All right. Hey, listeners out there, viewers out there, you've been listening and watching the Vast Voice. I appreciate it. This is Kenner French. I'm out.